Hello, welcome back. Now this is a lesson called Saved by the Bell, which is all about working in bursts. Now to do this particular lesson, it is an active lesson, so you will need a few things. You'll need a mechanism by which you can time yourself, perhaps your mobile phone, cell phone, a kitchen timer, alarm clock, something along those lines, but you do need to be able to time yourself for 5 minutes. You need to be in a position where you won't be disturbed, and you also need to have some mechanism which you can write on, be that a piece of paper, a journal, or an electronic device, whichever. So I'll take you through the task in a moment, but if you haven't got those things in place which I mentioned earlier, perhaps you need to run this lesson at a later date. Okay, so I'm going to ask you how to choose a task which you've been putting off for some time and write this task on a piece of paper. Set your timer to 5 minutes and then just write for 5 minutes without stopping. Now the kind of task you might want to choose may be something that's quite important that you may have been putting off that needs doing. So I don't know, it could be writing an important letter, or writing a report, or brainstorming a new business idea, or writing the first first paragraph of your best-selling novel. Whatever it is, you need to write that down on whatever document you have in front of you. In a moment I shall count you down from 3 to 1, go. At that point you will write non-stop for 5 minutes until your timer rings, and then we'll take it from there. So on the assumption you've got everything in place, you're not going to be disturbed, I shall now count you down, and then I want you to write non-stop for 5 minutes. 3, and then of course you need to pause the lesson. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, well, how did that go? Hopefully in front of you you'll have a sheet of paper, or perhaps an open document on your tablet or your laptop or whatever, with lots of good ideas. You made a good start to the task. You may also have lots of good ideas buzzing around in your head, and you might even feel like you need to continue. But rather than doing that, I still want you to stop. Please don't write anything else. The exception to that is that if you've got any new ideas or any new insights that have came to you as a consequence of that focus task, could you please jot those down now so that you don't lose them, or perhaps highlight a section on the writing that you've got in front of you. But I want you to move on at the moment, please. Okay, so why does it work? Well, that's on the presumption that it did of course work, but basically it's because anyone can stand to do even the most tedious of tasks for 5 minutes. So the idea really is that it gets you going, it creates momentum, and that the likelihood of procrastination is less because it's only a very short 5-minute task. It also creates laser focus because you're focusing on one thing and one thing only, so you haven't got those issues of indecision and thinking about what task to do next, about distractions and all those kinds of things. You're focused totally on that one task for short bursts of time, and you may find that at the end of that 5-minute period your mind's actually craving to complete the task. So you may have ideas coming to your mind, you might be itching to do more work, but that's part of the beauty of this process, that it does get you really thinking, and you might find that your mind's actually working behind the scenes at a subconscious level, thinking of new ideas to do with the task that you've just started. Okay, now you could take this whole process further. You might want to try varying the length of the bursts. I mean, you might want to start off with 5 minutes, followed by a rest, then 10 minutes, then 15, then 20. The rests themselves are quite important because they give you the opportunity to recharge and gives creativity a chance to get going as well. I wouldn't recommend that you take the bursts much beyond 30 or 40 minutes unless you've got the kind of mind that can focus consistently and in an intense manner for that period of time. I would suggest no more than about 30 or 40 minutes. As you start to lose momentum and perhaps get a little tired, you may want to start decreasing the length of time and take the bursts to become shorter and shorter if you are starting to lose momentum. If that's worked for you, I suggest you make a regular habit of it. Now, to take this slightly further, you've got a system called the Pomodoro technique, which really is just a formalized version of what we've just been discussing, and it's based on the Pomodoro timer, the kitchen timer. This system is well documented. There's books around it, there's YouTube videos, and in fact there has been a whole system built around the Pomodoro technique. But it is the same technique really. It works for 25 minute units of time with 5-minute rests. And if you take the system to its full extent, it talks about organizing all of your major tasks in terms of Pomodoro units of time rather than hours and days. Also, both of these techniques give you the opportunity to train your brain to really focus for a short burst of time. Okay, now I very much hope that you've got something out of that little activity. I use it myself a lot, and I find it's exceptionally useful both for beating procrastination and for making real progress on difficult tasks. So what I suggest you do is adopt either a variable short burst technique as I described earlier, or you could look a little bit more into the Pomodoro technique and use 25 minutes followed by 5-minute bursts. Try the system for a week and review how it goes. I would suggest really for all of this course that you keep a form of journal so you can review the techniques which you have found most useful, and if it does work for you, if it is helping you focus and be more productive, I suggest you make it a habit. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.